I am going to be doing videos for the Module 8, 9, and 10 stuff to try to talk through the electronic exercises as best I can. If you've already been doing vector in the vector class, you may not need much of these, or you may not need the full thing. I'm assuming that you're either going to have Illustrator or the alternative program, so I'm going to do it in both. And again, I hope this will help. What we're looking at for the very first of the exercises is this color wheel. And it makes use of a couple of tools to kind of speed the process a little bit. It's going to look different when I do it in the alternate program, but I'm going to do it per the Illustrator instructions first, and then I'll show you the alternate approach for anybody who's going that route. The very first thing we're going to do is create a new letter size document. It can be portrait or landscape, doesn't matter. We're going to make sure that we're working in the default color settings, which is white fill, black stroke, and then we're going to make some changes to that and continue on to end up with a color wheel that looks something like this. The color information that's shown at the bottom is available in a certain palette. I'll show you where to find that. But you don't have to pick the colors using exactly this. I just wanted to make sure that you knew how to pick hexadecimal values in case you ever had to. Okay, so I've got my new document open in Illustrator. I'm going to come over, and I apologize, it always takes me a second to remember where it is. It's going to be under the line tool. We're specifically looking for the polar grid tool. We need concentric circles that are sliced up. We could absolutely create two concentric circles, and we could create the lines, we could rotate them, but we're not doing that in this particular scenario in Illustrator because I have a tool that does it for us. So I'm just going to grab this and click. If you're using the alternate program, you won't have polar grid, so you'll have to do it a little bit differently. The colors, oops, okay. The color, or rather the size, is going to be 5 inches, 1 inch for concentric, 1 for concentric dividers and 12 for radial dividers. I just had to remind myself of what exactly those were. And okay, so the width is going to be 5. I didn't bother to reset my measurements to inches when I created the new document, so I'll have to type in the inch increment so that I don't end up with points. Concentric dividers, again, will be 1. This is how many concentric circles. And the radial dividers are going to be 12 because I need this divided up into 12 color areas, and that's where the spokes essentially come from. I'm going to click on OK, and I'll get the setting that I'm after. I have no fill and a black stroke so I can see what I'm doing, and I can click off, and this is what I've got. This is what I needed to have. Now, the next step confuses people, and I just want to make it as clear as I can. The idea is that the whole thing is 2 concentric circles and 12, or rather 6 radiating lines that are essentially double width. So what you end up with is a grouped shape. I need to be able to get to the subcomponents of this because I want to scale the spokes but not the circles. So what I'm going to do one time is ungroup. It's under my object menu. You can't see mine right at the moment because I don't have the screen capturing that part of it, but it's object, ungroup. Only do it once. When you do that and you come back up here and you click, and don't do what I'm about to demonstrate, but I just want you to see it, you end up with circles and spokes that are separate, and that's what I want. So I want to be able to select, and when I say spokes, I'm referring to like a bicycle tire. I want to select the spokes, but not the circle. By ungrouping once, I'm able to do those as a separate element. If I were to delete right now, I'm left with my concentric circles. Again, don't do that, but I just wanted you to see it. So my spokes are selected, the circle parts are not. I'm going to use the scale tool to increase the scale of these up just a little bit above 100. I'm going to do 105 so they're really obvious. It's uniform scale because I want it to be all dimensions. And what I end up with as a result of that uniform scale is the spokes sticking out of the circles just a little bit. That was the total goal here. So it could have been 102%, it could have been 120%, whatever. We just needed them to stick out because we're going to use the divide function. With divide, it would have incompletely divided this had the lines not absolutely gone beyond the edge of the other shape, and that was the whole reason for scaling. So once yours looks like this, you're going to select the whole thing, meaning the circles and the spokes, and you're going to use Pathfinder, which I think I had open in mine. That is not it. I'm going to go up to my window menu since I can't figure out where it is. Okay, it was there. I just, for some reason, couldn't see it. So I've got Pathfinder open, and I'm going to choose the divide option. So I'm going to click on divide. The only real visual difference I'm going to see once I do that is the spoke parts that were sticking outside are gone, but the rest of it looks the same. That's normal. And now I'm going to switch over to the white arrow. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click on any one of these center triangle bits. Doesn't matter which one. And I'm going to press the delete key twice. It doesn't look different because each section of this has essentially a double triangle because of the ones to the left and to the right of it. So you won't notice that it's working until you do it a couple times. So I select the next one, delete, delete, and I'm going to go all the way around until all of these in the center are gone, leaving me only with the outer ring. And then I'm going to save, because that's the basic setup that we're going with for this assignment. All right, so great. Pretend I've saved. I'm not going to do it right now, but you should save. So I have the setup. I've saved it, and now I'm ready to put the colors in here. Now, to put the colors in, you are going to make use of the color palette. And I gave you hexadecimal values. I mentioned that you could do it a different way, but I want to show you how you would use the hex. So to do hexadecimal, you'll have the color palette open. You'll come over to the right-hand side. You'll go to the options. I need to move it further out so that you can see this. Right. And what I'm looking for is the one that says Web Safe RGB. Mine is grayed out for the moment for a couple of reasons, not the least of which is I don't have a shape selected and I currently don't have a fill. Until I have some sort of fill happening, since the fill is the active one, it's not going to allow me to have access to the other color models. So I'm going to select one of my shapes, again white arrow because I want to do one at a time. I'm going to pick literally anything because it won't, again, let me move forward until I have some sort of fill happening. And then I'm going to come back over to that pull-out menu and I'm going to choose Web Safe RGB. In the Web Safe RGB area, you have the RGB sliders, and at the bottom, you have the hexadecimal entry field. One of the colors that was mentioned, and I got to remember, let's say FF0000 is going to be something in the red arena. So I'm going to type that in. FF0, whoops. 0000, and then I'm going to press return and I get a red. So you could go through and you could do every single one of the colors using the hexadecimal values, or you could pick ones that look appropriate. Now, the one requirement that I have of this, other than the fact that you create a color wheel that looks something like this, is that the color order be logical. I don't really mind if it's not exactly the colors that you see in the sample image, but you can't do red followed by green, for example, followed by purple, followed by orange, because those colors cannot blend to make each other. Red plus green will never make orange. Red plus green will never make purple, and that's what you're stating by this in terms of the color wheel. So the color order and placement must be logical. So try, I would say for the first one, definitely go with something similar to what's shown in the sample, but later on you can get a little bit more different. So your entire color wheel, for example, could be restricted to just a small subsection of it, so long as the order is logical. So if I were doing this one, this would be, let's say, blue. Red plus blue is going to give us purple towards the center. Red plus more blue is going to give us a very bluish purple. And red plus less blue is going to give us something that's pinkier. And so that's the idea, is the order must be logical. You'll fill up the complete color wheel with the 12 colors. You'll save it. It can be a PDF or an AI file. If you're saving out of Illustrator, that's fine. And then you will turn this one in. So that's this particular video.